Hey guys, Sam here. Now today's video is going to be the one that was requested a few days ago, and that's my favorite movies of all time. I'm going to do my top 10, so these are my top 10 favorite movies of all time. We're going to get right into it, but before we get started, I do want to say one thing. A lot of you guys are going to ask, Sam, you got such a big James Bond collection. You've got such a big Lord of the Rings collection. How are those movies not in here? They're not going to be in here, because James Bond and Lord of the Rings do hold a special place in my heart. I always say that if my room were to catch on fire, the first things I'd grab, my Lord of the Rings, my James Bond collection. But I can't classify them as my favorite movies of all time. I love Lord of the Rings, I love James Bond, I love the things that they tell. I love the story of Lord of the Rings, I love what James Bond does. But I can't classify those as my favorite movies of all time. My favorite movies of all time have to have a good story. They have to, most importantly, be something that I enjoy watching. Some of you guys are going to see my top 10 favorite movies and go, really, how is that so high? But again, these are my top 10. These are the movies that I have most fun watching. These are the movies that I think that are most fun to me. The media might not think so. Other people might not think so. But to me, these are the most fun movies to watch. These are movies that I could watch, sit down, anywhere I'm at, and watch these, like them, and enjoy them. Let's get right started. So first off, number 10 is Moonrise Kingdom. If you've never seen Moonrise Kingdom, I highly recommend it. It's a Wes Anderson film about these two kids, right here and right here. They fall in love, but they're from totally different. They meet each other in some random weird way. I'm not going to spoil anything in the movies, by the way. But they fall in love. They go on this crazy adventure. He's a Boy Scout. He escapes his Boy Scout camp. She escapes her family. And they really just go on this crazy adventure. And it is awesome. I really do highly recommend that you watch this movie. Now, if you've never seen a Wes Anderson film, be prepared to be surprised. Wes Anderson does this thing where every shot is equally divided down the middle. You can even see that on the cover. It's perfectly symmetrical with what's going on. And it is just awesome. If you've never seen a Wes Anderson movie, this is a good start. I love this movie so much. I recommend it. I recommend anybody see it. It's hilarious. I don't even know what to classify this as. An adventure movie, a comedy movie. I don't know, but it is awesome. And it didn't come out to theaters. It did, but it was only select theaters. You really had to go out of your way to try to find it. My brother's a film major, so he found a theater showing it. I tagged along with him, and I do not regret that at all. Again, a hilarious movie. I'm going to show the plot here, just in case you guys want to pause it and watch it. I'll do that, and read it. I'll do that for all the movies, just in case you want to read it and see what it's about. Great movie. I highly recommend it. Great cast. Bruce Willis, Edward Norton, Bill Murray, Frances McDormand. I mean, I totally forgot how good this movie is. I'm going to have to rewatch this. I haven't seen it in a while. But man, this movie is excellent. I highly recommend you watch it. Number 9. Another Wes Anderson movie, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Again, if you've never seen a Wes Anderson movie, I love Wes Anderson, if you can't already tell. But Fantastic Mr. Fox is awesome with George Clooney, Meryl Streep. They play this family of foxes. He's an ex-thief. So think Ocean's 11, but with foxes and animals, and it is just hilarious the way that he does things in this, because they still have their animal instincts. They still eat like animals. They fight like animals, but they have these humanistic qualities. And it's all stop motion. Again, there's that, in case you decide you want to pause it and read it. Great movie. There's Fantastic Mr. Fox. I love this movie. I love and adore this movie. I think the characters are awesome, especially this guy right here. He's hilarious. He's great. I do recommend you see this one, and I do recommend you see this one before Moonrise Kingdom. I have to put it above Moonrise Kingdom because I think it's amazing what they can do with stop motion entertainment nowadays, especially in a movie like this. All the intricate details of animals moving around, their fur and everything. And the Beach Boys did the soundtrack, so that's a definite positive. I highly recommend you watch Fantastic Mr. Fox if you truly want a good movie watching experience. And it's a family film, so I highly recommend that. Number 8. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I tell people that this is the greatest comic book adaptation of any movie, and I still to this day feel that way. I think that out of all the comic book movies that are out, this one holds true to the graphic novels the most. Everything from seeing the moon and seeing the hole punched in it, it's just awesome. So if you don't know what this movie's about, Scott Pilgrim falls in love with Ramona Flowers, but he has to fight the evil exes to get to her. Think Mortal Kombat in real life. The fighting styles in this movie are KO, KO, and yeah, when somebody gets punched out, it goes KO, and they burst into coins. This is like Mortal Kombat or a fighting game in real life. So there's that. It is awesome. you might not be able to see the plot this well on this one because it's so small I can't really fit that one. But yeah, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I actually also recommend you read these graphic novels and then see the movie. I do recommend you read the graphic novels prior. The graphic novels have some stuff that this movie can't really have. But yeah, it's a game changer. And it really is. This movie is fantastic. Again, I highly recommend anybody see Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I think I saw this movie 5 times in theaters or something like that. And I got 2 posters. One fell down and just broke, unfortunately. But yeah, I got 2 posters. Saw this movie like 5 times. I think the total amount of money I've spent just for this movie has got to be upwards of $70. I love, love, love this movie. Great. Number 7. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I unfortunately do not own this on Blu-ray. But yeah, Ferris Bueller's Day Off is great. If you don't know what Ferris Bueller's Day Off is, shame on you. But I will describe it. Matthew Broderick, aka Ferris, decides to do what every kid wants to do back in high school and take the day off. I know the opening monologue of this movie verbatim, and almost all the time I pretend I'm looking at cameras and just say what Ferris says at the opening monologue of this. I highly recommend you watch this movie. It's great. But again, if you don't... And I also made this costume. And so yeah, I wear my Ferris Bueller's Day Off costume sometimes just to school for fun of it. But yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, it is absolutely great. Highly recommended. Number 6, The Graduate. If you have never seen The Graduate, I really, really, really think that you should do this. This is Dustin Hoffman's best role, I think. And basically, Dustin Hoffman, aka Ben... Oh, here's the thing for you if you wanted to see it. AKA Ben decides to take Mrs. Robinson home one night. She needs a ride home. She seduces him, but then he falls in love with her daughter, making this crazy love triangle. But it is absolutely an awesome movie. I highly recommend it. Great story, by the way. This movie has one of the best stories ever, and I definitely think that it is Dustin Hoffman's best role. I highly recommend you watch The Graduate. Fantastic film, and I mean, I really did want to rate this higher, but looking around, I had to put some other things before it. But yeah, awesome movie. Number 5 is The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Mouthful of a title, but absolutely a masterpiece. They say that this is the most accurate depiction of Jesse James ever. Basically, Robert Ford falls into his gang, and Robert Ford is like Jesse James since he was a wee little kid, and it just leads up to him assassinating Jesse James. And that is not a spoiler because it's in the title. So yeah, here's the description if you guys want to give that a read. I doubt you guys can see those, but hey, if you guys can, you can. But yeah, I know for a fact Brad Pitt has said that this was his most favorite role to play and that he had a lot of fun playing this. And Casey Affleck, man, plays Robert Ford so well. I think a lot of people that I know that have watched this movie can vouch for that. And what's awesome about this movie is the cinematography. This whole movie is done like a moving oil painting. And I don't know how to describe it until you see it. But it is. It is like a moving oil painting, the whole entire movie, and it is awesome. By far my favorite Western. I love Westerns. I mean, I just love Westerns. I own all the Clint Eastwood movies, and I do. Something about Westerns I just like, and this is by far still my favorite one. I recommend you watch this immediately if you have not seen it. Number 4. I gotta put it on there. Titanic. Man card revoked, if you will, but I love Titanic. I think that what James Cameron did with this movie is outstanding. This is by far the most accurate depiction of the sinking we have, including him aligning the stars the right way that they were during the Titanic. I think a reason that this is so high up there is I'm a huge Titanic buff. I own all the Time magazines for the Titanic. I read up on the Titanic all the time. I own multiple books on the Titanic. I love the Titanic. It's my favorite history event. In fact, my nephew was born on the day the Titanic sank, and that was a huge, awesome thing, I thought. Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet. Love Leonardo DiCaprio on this. He's by far one of my favorite actors of all time. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of you guys know what Titanic is about. Revoke my man card if you want, but I love, love, love this movie. I even went and saw that one when it re-released in 3D. Number 3, D. I gotta love this movie. It's kick-ass. I know that this is not the most accurate depiction of a comic book, but you got to give them credit because when they started filming this, the comic book wasn't even being finished written, and I think they wrote this up good. And this, it holds a spot in my heart because Hit Girl is my favorite superhero of all time. One day I will show you my Hit Girl collection. I've got a ton of Hit Girl stuff. But yeah, this movie, I love it. It's hilarious. It keeps me entertained. And I think out of all the movies in this collection, I have seen this one the most. I used to watch this movie at least once a week, because it's on my iPod, and I would just continue to watch it at school or even just listen to it. I wouldn't even have to look at the picture. I can quote this movie verbatim. I love, 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 love this movie, and I cannot wait for number 2. I will be there opening night, and I will let you guys know how that is. So yeah, Kick-Ass, definitely on the list. Number 2. No top 10 movie would be complete without a Martin Scorsese film, and mine has to be Goodfellas. From the minute that this movie starts out, and you hear Ray Liotta go, "Ever since I can remember, I've always wanted to be a gangster," you know it's going to be good. This movie makes me want to join the mob, and I think if I was offered to join the mob, I would say yes, solely based on how good it looks in this movie. It is awesome, and I remember one of my friends got me into this movie. I never saw it, and he said, "You got to see Goodfellas." He hooked me up with it, and I thank him for that every day. You know who you are if you watch my video, Ryan. Thank you so much. Goodfellas, definitely one of the best movies I have ever seen. This is one of those ones I can watch anytime, anywhere. I could watch it once, put it right back in, rewatch it again, because it's just that good. And it's one of those movies that I don't even sit down to watch. Normally I just pop it in the Blu-ray player and let it roll just throughout the day, and I watch it through the course of like a week, or sometimes even the course of a month, where I just watch 5 minutes a day and just love this movie. It's a long one, but if you've never seen Goodfellas, man, you gotta get cultured, because this movie is fantastic. And my number 1 movie of all time, dun 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 dun. Oh, there's nothing in there, I'm just kidding. Now, maybe a lot of you haven't heard of this movie, but something about this movie is so good, and I'm getting on the serious note here. It has one of my favorite actors of all time in it, and in fact, he's won the award for Best Actor more than any other actor ever has. If you know who I'm talking about, you're gonna maybe know what this movie is. But it's 100%. I love this movie with a dying passion. I don't know what it is. It's got to be There Will Be Blood. There is something about this movie that I absolutely adore. And it gets down to a level I can't even explain to you guys. Just the religious aspects, along with this guy, Daniel Plainview, who just gets absolutely so greedy for his oil, and it all just kind of burns up in his face. And this title basically signifies everything about the movie. By the end of this movie, there will be blood. I can promise you that. You're not going to get a lot of action in this movie, but the dialogue keeps you so focused and just so in love with these characters. Him and Eli, the preacher kid who's really creepy, who thinks that Daniel's in this all for greed and he wants it, and it is just, I can't even describe to you what it is. And there's a lot of religious values in this movie, and I'm not saying it's a religious film by any means. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm just saying is that the way that they cope with greed versus religion versus these people's outlooks, you start to wonder who's the bad guy at the end. And it is just one of those movies that sends you for twists and sends you for turns. And I'm not going to say any more than that, because I really do want you guys to see this. But even the way that the oil rigs are shaped like crosses when they're oiling the getting the oil out of the ground is just, it's fantastic. When you look back at this movie, it is, and it's by Paul Thomas Anderson. And oh man, it makes me want to watch it right now. I can't get over how awesome this movie is. If you've never seen There Will Be Blood, I recommend, out of all those movies that I just shown, you go and see this right now. Whether you have to download it, whatever, you need to sit down and you need to watch There Will Be Blood. It is a masterpiece of a film, and I do not use that term lightly. It is a masterpiece. I've never seen a movie like this ever before. Awesome movie. Absolutely fantastic. So there you guys have it. That is my top 10 movies of all time. Quick going back through and just giving you guys a recap in no particular order, so you guys can get a look at what they were again, in case you wanted to maybe pick any of these up and watch them. They are all great movies, but they are my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I recommend you go and watch each and every one of those. Heck, have a sit down, watch them all at once. But definitely watch There Will Be Blood, and definitely watch Goodfellas. If you have not seen these two movies, you need to watch them. They are fantastic. They are great. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, or want me to see a movie or ask me, because there's movies out there I haven't seen. I've seen a lot, but there's some I haven't seen. So if you want to talk movies or talk anything like that, comment down below, and I promise I will respond until I get really famous, in which case I'm not going to respond anymore. But yeah, no, I will respond. I promise you guys that. I do take all your advice and take all your comments into careful consideration. And if you want to talk movies, let me know. We'll chat it up a little bit. See what you guys like. So, like and subscribe, and that will be it, guys. Take it easy.